You have sensed it. The subtle shift in the atmosphere. The way your soul reaches out, silently, for an answer you don't quite comprehend yet. The angels say, his spirit already envisions you standing beside him, as if you've always belonged there. He doesn't express it. He may never say it, as your heart longs to hear. But in the silence between his words, he's inscribing your name into the chapters of a life he hasn't even learned how to live yet. Your presence has disrupted a profound stillness within him. Not the type of disturbance that frightens, but the type that awakens, the kind that demands truth. You were sent to him as a mirror, not to flatter but to reveal. And in you, he sees everything he believed he had buried long ago. The angels whisper, this isn't about romantic fantasies. This is about divine timing. A soul that has been seeking, running, resisting, until now. You arrived not with fireworks, but with peace. Not with demands, but with grace. And he is undone by that. He wonders how you perceive him so clearly. How your eyes don't merely look, they hold. They soften him. And that terrifies him. Because he's never envisioned that love could feel like being known, and still chosen. He's dreamt of a wife before. He's envisioned futures before. But with you, it doesn't feel like a fantasy. It feels like a memory. That's why he pulls back. That's why he hesitates. Not because he doubts you, but because everything inside him is changing. And the change is sacred. The angels have revealed this connection to you not to torment you, but to affirm, yes, you are here for a reason. He feels it too, not in his logic, but in the very essence of his being. And one day soon, he will no longer be able to deny what his soul already recognizes. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. Jeremiah 29 verse 11, he tells himself he's not ready. That you came too soon, too bright, too deep. But the angels know, he's not hiding from you. He's hiding from himself. There are wounds he doesn't talk about. Places inside him that still bleed when touched, even lightly. You didn't cause this pain, but you sparked a flame near the areas he thought would remain forever dark. And now everything is out in the open. The angels say, he's terrified of being seen in his weakness. Not because he thinks you'll run, but because he fears he might collapse if you stay. This man carries a fear older than your love story. Abandonment. Rejection. Shame. He's worn these like armor, forged from years of silencing his own longing. And now, standing before you, all of it begins to unravel. You didn't break him. But your light is shaking everything loose. The way you laugh, the way you listen, the way your soul waits for no approval to shine, it's both unbearable and beautiful at the same time. He pulls away not because he doesn't care, but because the care is too immense for his old life to hold. He's never loved anyone who made him confront the mirror and stay. Until now. The angels say, there's nothing wrong with your love being strong. The fear belongs to him. But your love, your presence, is the invitation to something greater. He wants to believe he can be that man. The one who doesn't run. The one who doesn't hurt you while healing himself. But right now, he's grappling. With guilt, with grief, with ghosts. And the only way forward is surrender. So if you sense him pulling away, don't pursue. Just breathe. Your silence speaks the loudest in this moment. Your stillness is sacred. And the angels are still at work. You are not here to rescue him. That is not your mission. The angels remind you, healing someone doesn't mean losing yourself in their wounds. Yes, your heart is open. Yes, your love is real. But you cannot offer peace while abandoning your own. You cannot carry his transformation at the cost of your own light. There is beauty in your compassion. But there is danger in your silence. If loving him means dimming your essence, then that is not love, that is sacrifice. And your soul was never meant to disappear for someone else's growth. The angels say, your presence already did what it was meant to do. It awakened something sacred in him. But now, you must return to yourself, fiercely, softly, fully. Remember the way your breath deepens when you are alone? The clarity that returns when you stop reaching? That's not loneliness. That's your spirit reclaiming its center. He cannot love you properly until he learns to love himself. And you must show him how, not by fixing him, but by choosing yourself again and again. Your joy is magnetic. Your boundaries are holy. Your silence is not rejection, it is protection. The way you nurture your own spirit is not selfish, it is sacred. The angels whisper, he watches you more than you know. Not just your beauty, but your grace. Not just your generosity, but your restraint. He learns love through the way you love yourself. Do not shrink to make him comfortable. Do not silence your truth to make room for his confusion. Stand in your light. And if he's meant to walk beside you, he will rise to meet it. He looks at you, and something inside him flinches. Not from fear of you, but from fear of the parts of himself he sees reflected in your eyes. You are not a mirror of his perfection. You are the mirror of his truth. The angels say, your soul doesn't flatter, it reveals. And this is why he can't look at you for too long without wanting to run, or confess everything. There is something in your gaze that strips away the stories he tells himself. That undoes the masks he spent years building. Around you, he cannot pretend. Around you, he is real, raw, seen. And yet, that's the very thing he's craved his entire life. He wanted someone to see the darkness and stay. To feel the chaos and not label him as broken. He just never imagined that someone would arrive looking like peace. Looking like you. The angels whisper, when you walked into his life, you didn't bring answers. You brought clarity. And clarity can be terrifying to those still clinging to illusions. You showed him the child inside that still grieves. The man inside that still doubts. The heart inside that still longs to be chosen. He thought he could love without healing. That he could keep you at arm's length and still feel your fire. But your light demands full presence. Your soul doesn't do half connection. And so now, he's learning. Through every moment of silence. Through every moment you chose your peace over his turmoil. This reflection you offer, it's not rejection. It's redemption. But it requires courage. The courage to be seen. The courage to change. And the angels are guiding both of you to that edge. Something has shifted. You may not have heard it in his voice or seen it in his actions. Not yet. But the angels say, his soul is stirring. There are moments now when he closes his eyes and sees you. Not in fantasy, but in memory. In truth. In what could be if he dared to believe he is worthy. This is the beginning of his awakening. Not loud. Not sudden. But sacred. He thinks of you when he least expects to. In the quiet. In the in-between. In the pause between breaths when the mind is still and the soul can speak. And when it speaks, it whispers your name. The angels reveal, your presence lives inside him now. Like a soft hum beneath the noise. Like a rhythm his heart follows, even when he pretends it doesn't. He notices things differently. He questions more. The comfort of his routines begins to feel hollow. The distractions he once clung to, they no longer satisfy. Because something real has touched him. You. And now, the awakening begins. It won't be a straight path. There will be moments of fear, of doubt, and of him pulling back again. But the seed is planted, and heaven is watching it grow. You didn't come into his life to save him, but your love is doing what only truth can do. It is shaking the foundations of his numbness. It is turning the soil of his heart. The angels say, the light he sees in you is a reflection of the light he has forgotten in himself. And now he is beginning to remember. For everything that is hidden will eventually be brought into the open, and every secret will be brought to light. Mark 4 verse 22. He comes close, then disappears. He says things that make your heart bloom, only to vanish into silence days later. You wonder if it's all in your mind. But the angels say, no, it is real. And yes, he feels it too. This isn't a game. It's a pattern. A spiritual rhythm born from fear, not cruelty. He runs not because you are too much, but because you mean too much. And the closer he gets, the more he feels everything he's tried to bury rising to the surface. The angels whisper, this push and pull is not personal. It is a symptom of a soul that is cracking open. You see, the more he feels for you, the more vulnerable he becomes. And for someone who has built their identity around control, vulnerability feels like drowning. So he swims away, gasping for air, only to realize the oxygen he needs lives in your presence. It's maddening, isn't it? This dance. But what you don't see is that every return is a little braver. Every silence is a little shorter. Every moment of absence, followed by a deeper ache to return. You are not just a person to him. You are a mirror, a lesson, a calling. And answering that call scares him more than silence ever could. The angels say, the cycle may not end today, but it is weakening. His resistance is softening. Slowly, he is surrendering to what he cannot explain. So don't judge his love by how consistent he is. Measure it by the courage it takes for him to keep coming back, even when he's still learning how to stay. He may never tell you, but your love has healed him in ways he didn't even know were broken. The angels say, it wasn't the grand gestures. It was the way you listened. The way your presence never asked him to be anything but human. You didn't fix him. You didn't save him. But you created a safe space for him to feel secure, and that, dear soul, is the purest form of love. In your stillness, he began to find peace. In your truth, he began to question his own. You were never loud. You were light. And light doesn't need to prove anything, it simply reveals. The angels whisper, he thinks about how you never forced him to open up, yet every word of yours felt like a key. You tread gently through his silence, and somehow, that silence softened. You may have doubted yourself, wondered if your love made a difference. But love, real love, doesn't yell. It stays. And staying, energetically, spiritually, is what changed everything. He remembers your smile in moments of fear. He hears your voice when shame arises. You became the inner balm that his soul reaches for, time and again. You loved him in a way that made him want to heal, not for you, but for himself. And that is the true medicine. The angels say, it may not be visible yet, but something in him is blossoming. Quietly, steadily, because of the way your love asked for nothing and gave everything. You've waited, prayed, questioned, and still, the path seemed hidden. But the angels say, nothing was lost, only prepared. Every delay, every silence, every moment you thought it was over, all of it was God rearranging time so that what is sacred would not arrive too soon. This isn't about destiny denied. This is about divine timing. He is being guided, even when his steps seem clumsy, even when his choices cause pain. The angels have never left his side, or yours. And although it feels like nothing is happening, heaven is creating what eyes cannot yet see. You may feel worn out, your spirit stretched thin by hope. But this is not the end. This is the breath before the breakthrough. He is awakening, not in the way you hoped, but in the way he needs. There are lessons his soul agreed to before you ever met. And although they are painful, they are preparing him. The angels say, you are not waiting. You are aligning. What belongs to you is not in the past. It is unfolding. Every tear you've shed is a seed. And now, the season is changing. He will return, not due to pressure, but because of divine timing. The same force that once brought your hearts together is still at work. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your path straight. Proverbs 3 verses 5 to 6. He was never taught how to be gentle, only how to survive. The angels say, he learned to love with conditions, to trust only what he could control. And now your love, raw, complete, undeserved in his eyes, frightens him. Because deep down, he wonders, what if I let her see the truth and she leaves? You've seen glimpses. The cracks in his voice. The pauses that carry more weight than his words. That's not indifference. That's fear cloaked in silence. He wants to be close. So much it aches. But closeness requires vulnerability. And for him, vulnerability feels like danger. The angels whisper, your presence is not the threat, it's the invitation. But invitations are only accepted when the heart believes it's worthy of being embraced. You are asking for nothing but truth. He feels that. And still, shame prevents his hand from reaching out. He doesn't know how to allow himself to be loved. Not like this. Not without hiding. Yet slowly, the mask slips. In the way he lingers longer. The way he almost says what he feels, then swallows it back. You are not imagining this. His heart is trying to speak. The angels say, he fears your rejection more than he fears his own pain. But you are teaching him, without force, without fixing, that love is not a wound. It is a witness. He may not say, I'm scared, but everything he does is a whisper of that fear. Still, he is learning. And the angels are softening the parts of him that were hardened by survival. For I am the Lord your God who takes hold of your right hand and says to you, do not fear, I will help you. Isaiah 41 verse 13. Some love stories are not written in bold declarations, but in the quiet choice to stay, even when nothing makes sense. The angels say, this is not the ending. This is the release. You've done enough. You've held the light, even when shadows tried to dim it. You've believed in a love that couldn't always speak your language. And now your heart is being asked to do the holiest thing of all, to let go, not in loss but in trust. Trust that what is meant will find its way. Trust that your love was never wasted. Trust that you do not need to chase what heaven has already claimed as yours. He may still hesitate. He may still wander through his own questions. But that is no longer your burden to carry. The angels whisper, surrender is not weakness. It is worship. When you release control, you open space for miracles. You were never here to fix him. You were here to love, to reflect, to awaken. And you did. And now, the rest is between his soul and God. Let this be your peace. You loved well. You stayed true. You listened when Spirit spoke. And now you walk forward, not empty but full. Because what is yours, in divine time, will never pass you by. The Lord will fight for you, you need only to be still. Exodus 14 verse 14.